So Michael, you actually mentioned a few things that I want to circle back to, one of them being safety. Right? And you mentioned that you guys are working on standards to help evaluate safety within AI models. I'm wondering if you could build upon that a little bit. Kind of talk to us about kind of how you approach the evaluation of safety, biases, things of that nature within those models.
Yeah, sure. So bias in any model is a huge problem. It's discussed pretty widely, thankfully. It wasn't the case, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago. It was a new idea, so I think we made a lot of progress there. And also the technology has progressed quite a bit to be able to address biases in known categories of, say, the public that are operating with the system or any kind of situation. So for instance, some of the main technologies to train these models, you can tell them, okay, I want you to avoid this kind of bias or that kind of bias. There's also a lot of, and so of course those things are required in the kind of standards that I'm talking about, because you don't want the risk of a self-driving car to be higher for any subsection of the population. And this is a really tricky thing because you don't always know what the at-risk subpopulations are. The example that I like to use that is pretty simple is that maybe a self-driving car can be very good at detecting a pedestrian crossing the street in front of them, but it could be very bad at detecting that pedestrian if they're in a wheelchair, right? So if you look at the overall statistics, most people aren't in wheelchairs, and so the overall statistics can be awesome, and you can quote a 99 point however many nines number, but you have this, literally a fatal flaw in the model, and you need to be aware of that. So I think a lot more research and work needs to be done in finding those subpopulations where you still have bias. I'd say that's still an open research question. But for instance, like the German Ethics Commission published a set of guidelines in 2017 about self-driving vehicles, and they laid out this as a requirement. Don't put any particular subpopulation at risk. And in our safety case that we supply our customers, this is a big area of conversation because our customers ask, how do we do that? And we say it's a journey right now, sadly. But as long as you're looking at the performance and you're doing a root cause analysis of potential incidents and problems that you might find in your safety metrics that you're tracking, then you stand a good chance of getting ahead of these things and handling them responsibly.